Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Okay, dear students, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you are all enjoying your time and you are all fine. Today we start our fourth lecture, and in today's lecture we start a new unit, which is Unit 2. In today's lecture we'll read the second story, okay, the reading passage, and then I'll explain and read the words and idioms list and explain some of these words or idioms if they need to be explained more, but they are all put in simplified English, and some are given with examples. So, our second story on page 17. Page 17. The title of the story is called, it is Lessons from the Farm. Okay? Again here, the story is narrated, is told, by the first person point of view. First person narrator. That means the narrator or the teller of the story here is using the I point of view, saying I have, I had, I spent, okay, my cousins, I learned, okay. So the narrator again here is a participant in the story, okay, is part of the events, part of the story. And we come to the end of the story, and we don't really know whether the storyteller or the narrator is male or female, a boy or a girl. So it could be either. Okay? So just for you to know these general things before we start reading the story. Okay? Lessons from the Farm. It's about the storyteller and telling his story and the lessons that he learned while, working on a farm with his uncle or with his cousin. Briefly, he talks about, the narrator, he or she talks about three lessons that he learned. Okay? 3 lessons, and he explains each lesson separately. So you have to keep this in mind. Okay? On we go. Okay, we start. Lessons from the farm. I had never really lived on a farm, but my brother's Uncle John had a farm. So I spent time there, like all other children in the family. The farm was just a few miles from town, so we could ride our bicycles there. Aunt Wanda, my cousins, and the hired help all like children, so we felt welcome there. Some very interesting things happened on the farm. I learned a lot about life and a lot about people there. Next paragraph here. I learned about having a job and motivation. This is the first lesson that the narrator learned. Again, I learned about having a job and motivation. As we grew older, we were asked if we wanted to work on the farm. One job that we all liked was picking beans. Uncle John planted several acres of green beans every spring. And in the middle of July, the beans were ready to begin picking. He drove his yellow truck to town every morning and picked up his bean pickers. He had 2 stops, one at the park and one closer to our house. At 7 in the morning, we children would be ready. We had our buckets and paper sacks with our lunches. We wore light-colored long-sleeved shirts. Why? And we had big straw hats too, to protect our heads from the sun. We were off to earn money for special things that we wanted. Next paragraph, on line 25. Picking beans was not hard work. Each person took one rope, knelt on a folded burlap sack, and pushed back the leaves. We were supposed to pluck the long green beans and put them in our pails. When a bucket was full, we emptied the beans into big clean burlap sacks. We called these bags gunny sacks. Next page. Page 18. A gunny sack could hold about 70 pounds of beans. Most days, we children each picked one bag full. We got paid for this work. Uncle John weighed the sacks at the end of the day. He deducted 2 pounds for the weight of the sack. Aunt Wanda figured out how much we had earned and paid us 3 cents a pound. Helen Miller was an adult who came with us sometimes. Mrs. Miller always picked more than 100 pounds. Some days she picked more than 200 pounds of beans. She didn't play, however. My brothers always played, and they never got more than $2 for the beans they picked. One day I chose a row next to Mrs. Miller's. I tried to work as fast as she did. That year, I earned money for clothes and a gold wristwatch. It was good to separate work and play. We earned money, and so did Uncle John. Every evening, Uncle John took us back to town. Then he took the bags full of beans to a canning factory across the river. Next paragraph. One very hot day at lunchtime, I learned another lesson. Okay, this is the second lesson that the narrator is telling us about. One very hot day at lunchtime, I learned another lesson. Uncle John suggested that we take a rest. The sun was simply too strong for us to stay in the fields at high noon. My cousin Piggy and I went for a walk. Everything seemed quiet as we walked into the cool, shady woods. We found a grassy place under a tree, stretched out, and fell sound asleep. I woke up suddenly. Someone was looking at me. I could feel eyes on me. I looked up and saw no one. I sat up and suddenly there was a great hullabaloo. Piggy woke up too, and we realized that a flock of 100 turkeys or more surrounded us. They wanted to be cool too. When we woke up, they were frightened. They were all raising their necks and gobbling at us. The din was terrifying. Next page. Page 19. Next page. Piggy. Piggy started to cry. It was frightening All those turkeys, I don't know why, but I made a sound in response. I forced air out of my lungs and let my tongue make a flapping rrrr sound. The turkeys suddenly all became quiet and settled down into the grass. Piggy got to her feet, and so did I. We needed to escape from the turkeys, from all the turkeys. I continued making the rrrr whirring sound. And the turkeys stayed down. When I stopped, they started gobbling again. Later, I learned that turkeys naturally fear hawks. And the whirr, the whirring sound, was like the sound of hawk's wings. Piggy laughed about my knowing how to talk to turkeys. It was an insight into learning to speak foreign languages. Next paragraph, which is the third lesson that we are being told, or that the narrator tells us about. This is lesson number 3. Okay? There was one other important lesson that I learned on the farm. Okay, this is lesson number 3. It was a warm Saturday morning in autumn. The fall colors were bright on the trees. My brother Ted and I had ridden our bicycles out to the farm to spend the day. We would help if we could. Suddenly, the sky grew dark and the wind began to blow. It was obvious to us all that there was going to be a thunderstorm. Uncle John was leading his horses into their stalls in the barn. He called to us to help get the animals into the barn. Ted and I took up the sticks. Next paragraph. We ran to the meadow and started to move the small herd of cows toward the barn. The cows went willingly into the safety of the large building. All the cows, except for one yearling, that is, went peacefully into the barn. This young animal, the yearling, was stubbornly refusing to go in. Uncle John and Dan, his adult son, were both pulling on the rope around the calf's neck. Calves, yearling. And the animal's hooves were firmly planted in the earth 10 feet from the door of the barn. Nothing, it seemed, would get that animal into the barn. Next page. And last paragraph. Okay. Ted watched and then asked, "Can I try?" Uncle John and Dan looked at him. Ted was only 12 years old. He was tall for his age, but he was certainly not as strong as Uncle John and Dan. Uncle John laughed and said, "Okay, Teddy, have a go at it." He threw the rope to Ted, who did not take it. Instead, Ted pulled hard on the tail of the calf, and the animal bolted straight into the barn. I learned that common sense is not common. I also learned that it is good to stop and think about something difficult to do. Sometimes it is better to use one's brain instead of one's brawn. Okay, this is the story about the storyteller and his uncle and aunt and his brother, and the 3 lessons that he learned while having a job or while working on the farm of his uncle. Okay, so if we go back for just some more revision to the reading passage. Okay, here we talk about, as we have just said, okay, the storyteller is telling us his story while working on a farm, and he tells us the first, job and his experience or her experience in picking beans, and how his uncle used to go and find or pick up the bean pickers and the children, including the children, and put them in the truck, in his yellow truck, and take them to the farm, to his farm. And there are words, the difficult words are already explained for you in the words and idioms list. We go to this part of the unit, words and idioms list. Okay, here is the beginning of the list. Okay, words and idiom list, and idioms list. Sorry. First one is an acre. Okay, as a noun. Acre, as a noun, is, what is an acre? It's a kind of, a type of measurement of land. Okay, زي ما بيسموها في بعض الدول اللي هو زي الفدان مثلا. Okay, which is about, أو الدنم. Okay, but here it's called the acre. Okay, a measurement of land which is about 2.5 acres equals what? 1 hectare, which is about 4,400 square meters. Okay, an acre makes 4,047 square meters. 2, an adult. An adult. What is an adult? An adult is a person over the age of 18. An adult is a person over the age of 18. الشخص الكبير اللي هو الراشد يعني. Autumn, okay, اللي هو the season of the year between summer and winter. It's called also what? Fall. It is harvest time in some countries. Okay? Autumn or fall. Fall is more used in the United States, okay, or in the American English. Autumn is more used in the British English. Autumn, fall, okay, اللي هو الخريف. 4, to bolt, to run suddenly, to dash forward. To bolt, to run suddenly and dash forward. Okay? Brawn was strength. Strength from strong. Strong, noun is strength. Brawn, strength. القوة. A bucket, there are different, meanings of this word, and you have them in the story. A bucket, a container, kind of a container with a handle for carrying water or other things. Okay, like what we call in Arabic, it was subtle. Okay, a bucket or a pail. Pear lab, number 7. Pear lab اللي هو ايش؟ It's an uncountable noun. يعني that means we can't say pear labs because it's non-count noun. It's a non-count noun. It is what? It's a type of a strong, thick, coarse يعني rough, خشن. Cloth made from hemp or jute. Okay? اللي هو يعني بالعربي نسميه الخيش، يعني تقريبا ما يقابل الخيش اللي هو أو الكيس الخيش، مصنوع من الألياف من الفايبرز. Okay? الفايبر الخشن. Okay? بيرلا. 8 a canning factory. A canning factory. A canning factory is a noun. It's a place where food is saved and put into cans. Okay? A place where food is saved and put into cans. اللي هو مصنع التعليب تبع الخضار اللي بيلقطوها في الموسم تبع تلقيط الفاصوليا أو اللي اتكلم عنها في القطع. To deduct means what? To subtract, to take away. Okay? Like what say? Minus, to take out. Okay? To take away, to subtract, deduct. يعني يخصم من. Earn, to gain, to get, to work for money, to do a job and be paid for it. To work for money, to do a job and be paid for it. To earn, to gain. 12, to feel welcome. This is an idiom. Okay, feel welcome. To understand that one can visit and know that people are glad to show it. Okay? To feel welcome. Okay? To understand that one can visit and know that people are glad to show it. Okay? A flap, 13. A flap, to move like a bird's wing. To flutter. To move like a bird's wing. To flutter. "14. A flock, noun, a number of birds or sheep as a group. A group of birds or sheep. Group. Grassy, from grass. Grass, grassy. يعني an area that is covered with grass. Okay? An area, a piece of land covered with grass. Grassy. 16. A hawk, again, noun. Okay? A large bird that eats other birds and small animals. A hawk. لو يسموه الصقر أو الباز. A hawk. It's a large bird that eats other birds and small animals. 17. A herd. It's again noun, a number of animals, such as cows, horses, okay, together as a group. So it's a group of animals like horses, cows, okay. A herd, يسميه بالعربي القطيع. 18. High noon. Again, this is idiom. High noon. That means what? The hottest time of the day, between 12 and 2 p.m. High noon. Okay? High noon. The hottest time of the day, between 12 o'clock and 2 o'clock. 19. This is an idiom. This is important. Okay? The hired help. The hired help. Okay? Who are the helpers. يعني the person or people who are paid to work on a farm. Okay? عمال يستخدموا للمساعدة مقابل أجر. Hired help. Hired help. It's a noun and it's idiom. Together يعني. Idiom means the two words go together as one يعني phrase, as a phrase together. Hired help. Sorry, hired help. 20. A hoof. and plural is hooves. Hoof and hooves. A hoof. That is what? What is a hoof? The hard, split foot of a cow, horse, or sheep. Plural إيش؟ hooves. جمعها hooves. ولإيش؟ الحافر، حافر الحيوان. 21 halabalo. Halabalo. Okay, which is what? Din. يعني إيش din? Halabalo. Same meaning. Halabalo. Din. A lot of noise caused by people or animals. Okay, the noise that is made by people or animals. Halabalo, which is a din. This is din number 10. Din. I hope that we did not, skip this one. Din. Number 10, please. Back to number 10. 10 is a din, which is a loud and unpleasant sound. Okay? Then back to number 21. Halabalo, a din. A lot of noise caused by people or animals. 21. An insight, noun. Insight, which is what? A sudden understanding of facts. A sudden understanding of facts. يعني معرفة حقيقة يعني بطريقة غير متوقعة أو مفاجئة. شيء ما كنت تعرفه من قبل. 23. To kneel on a verb to kneel verb يعني to go down on one's knee or on one's knees and settle there. Knees. Okay, knees. What do you mean by knees? أو a knee اللي هو إيش الركب. Okay, to kneel, to go down on your knees. Okay, يركع يعني أو on your knees to kneel, to go on one's knees. That means to go on one's knees يعني أنه يركع على ركب. 24. A lung. Noun. Okay? A lung. One of what? One of two holding body organs. Okay? One of the two air holding body organs. لهم إيش؟ Lungs. Huh? Lungs. الرئة. Lungs رئتين. Lung, one lung. الرئة. A meadow. 25. A field of grass where animals can eat the grass. Meadow. Okay? A field of grass. ده بنسميه زي المرجة، زي السهل المخضر. Okay? المليء بالعشب للحيوانات يرتعوا فيه. Next page. Page 22. Motivation. So this is a non-count noun. يعني, as I just said before, when we say non-count, that means you cannot use in a plural form. You cannot use in a plural form. You can't say يعني motivations. Wrong. Motivation, non-count noun. We just use it in its singular form. So that's why it is called non-count noun. And I gave examples on that previously in previous lectures. Motivation, a goal, a reason for doing something. A goal. Motivation, a goal, a reason for doing something. الحافز، المحرض على عمل شيء، الهدف اللي obvious, clearly understood. Obvious, يعني something clear. Obvious, clear. Obvious, clear. This is an adjective. صفة. 28. A pail. A pail, which is another word for bucket. A pail, a bucket, which is what? A container for carrying water. نفس معنى كلمة bucket مرت معنا اللي هي إيش؟ كمان معنى ثاني لكلمة bucket سطل. Planted as an adjective, unmoving, stable. Okay, if something is planted in its place, or an animal or a place, that means stable, not moving. Planted, unmoving, stable, يعني fixed in its place. To pluck, next, number 30, to pluck as a verb, to pick, to pluck, to pick, to pull off, okay, to pluck, okay, to pick or to pull off, to pluck, okay. A sack, okay, sort of a bag, kind of a bag, okay, a piece of cloth that is sewn so that it can hold goods, or it can be a paper that is folded and glued to hold items. A sack, either يعني made of a piece of a cloth or made of paper. اللي هو الكيس إما من ورق أو من قماش نعم. Next, 32. To stretch out as an idiom, verb here. To stretch out يعني to stretch out, okay, to lie down and prepare to rest or sleep, okay, to stretch out, just to lie down, to get ready to sleep, or to just to stretch out. Preparing يعني someone's يعني to prepare yourself for a rest or for sleep, to stretch out. Stubbornly, to firmly, without listening to reason. This is an adverb because it ends in ly فيها عند it ends in ly بتنتهي ly فغالبا تكون ايش؟ adverb زي بالعربي نسميه الحال. okay. تقريبا firmly without listening to reason. okay. يعني stubbornly يعني بعند عند يعني عمل شيء بعند بدون ما يسمع لأي أحد أو يستجيب لأي نداء أو لا يستجيب لأي أحد في الحركة زي ما صار مع الكارف في القصة اللي هو العجل الصغير ما رضي يتحرك فكان عنيد معند ما رضي يتحرك ويخش على المخزن أو على الاسطبل تبع البقر. 33 next اللي هو 34 sorry, to surround, to be on all sides with something in the middle. Okay, to surround. Next 35, a thunderstorm. ليش؟ A rainstorm with thunder and lightning. Okay? Thunderstorm. A rainstorm with thunder and lightning. يعني عاصفة رعدية بيجي معها المطر والبرق. Okay? Lightning اللي هو البرق. Okay? A thunderstorm, a rainstorm with thunder and lightning. 36, the one before the last, a whirring sound. This is an idiom again. Whirring sound. اللي هو إيش؟ Soft sound of an engine or bird's wings moving. Okay, يعني the swirling sound is similar to the engine or bird's wings moving. Last 37, a yearling. What is a yearling? It's an animal that is a year old. Or an adolescent animal, يعني a very young animal. Okay, an animal that is a year old or an adolescent animal. Okay, this is all for today, and here we finish the story and the words and the idioms that are supposed to be new to you or mostly are new to you with the meanings. So you have to please read the story or the reading passage again and again to understand the details, so you can answer the questions on this story on the next pages. So in the next lecture, we discuss and we answer the exercises on the story. So for next time, please, you read the story as many times as possible. The more you read, the more you understand. Without reading the story and understanding it, you cannot go to the exercises. Okay, because the exercises ask about specific details in the story. So you have to read the story. Okay, in case of any difficult word, please you refer to dictionaries. You have to have good dictionaries with you. Okay, so for next time, for next class, we please prepare, the exercises on page 22, اللي هو understanding sequence, and give possible answers, and then we do it together. Part A and then part B on page 23. Okay, and then part C again on page 23, and then which is very important, answering questions about the story, page 24. Page 24. Okay, so at least do these for the next time, and then we'll do them again together, but just to check your answers with me and make sure that we are doing them all right. Thank you very much for being with me today, and see you very soon in another lecture. Goodbye, everybody.